The sterile hum of fluorescent lights buzzed overhead in the Boise, Idaho emergency room as I lay on a gurney, the sharp sting of antiseptic biting my skin. My leg throbbed with a pain that suggested it was shattered, my ribs ached with every shallow breath, and blood crusted on my lips from a crash I barely remembered, tires screeching, glass shattering, then silence. Paramedics had rushed me in, their voices a distant chant. Pulse stable, compound fracture, possible internal bleeding, move. I faded in and out, waking to a cracked phone screen and a nurse's gentle prodding. "Can you feel your toes?" she asked. "Barely." I fumbled for my phone, dialing Dad, my emergency contact. 3 times before he answered, his tone clipped. "Lena, what is it?" "I'm with Claire. She's spiraling after a failed interview." I gasped. "Dad, I'm in the car accident. My leg's broken, maybe worse." He cut in. "Are you dying?" Stunned, I whispered, "I might need surgery." His sigh was impatient. "You're strong. Don't call in a panic. Claire needs me now." The line went dead. I stared at the ceiling, the antiseptic smell overwhelming, machines beeping, my only company. Hours later, when he finally arrived, his face showed confusion, not concern. He hadn't expected the woman I'd become, nor the resolve I was about to unleash. The crash replayed in fragments. A truck swerved, my car spun, and I blacked out. Waking on the stretcher, I felt the paramedics' urgency, their hands steady as they lifted me. In the ER, the nurse's kindness contrasted with my isolation. I kept checking the door, hoping for Dad, but he didn't come. That absence cracked something open, a truth I'd buried. This wasn't new. Claire, the golden child, always took center stage. I was the sturdy one, the one who didn't need coddling. Growing up, my birthdays were modest dinners while Claire's had fairy lights and cakes. My high school graduation was missed because Claire panicked over a B-. Dad said, "You understand, she needed me." I nodded, swallowing it. In college, I juggled 2 jobs for tuition while Dad funded Claire's rent and bought her a laptop, dismissing my broken one with, "Save up." The pattern was subtle, a quiet erosion I'd excused as love. Lying there, bruised and stitched, the double standard hit hard. Claire's drunken crash into a neighbor's fence was a learning moment. My forgotten gas refill earned an hour-long lecture. She switched majors, failed internships, and Dad swooped in with support. Hugs, money, pep talks. I built a stable life, paid my bills, stayed steady, yet that made me invisible and less useful. When Claire racked up $20,000 in credit card debt, Dad bailed her out, then asked me to cover utilities. I did, thinking it was family. But now, bleeding and alone, I saw it. Neglect masked as expectation. Dad's call confirmed it. My pain was drama, Claire's meltdown urgent. I'd always reassured myself he worries about her because she struggles, but the fog lifted. He never saw me, just what I could handle alone. That night, in the trauma wing, the hospital became a strange refuge. The nurse dimmed the lights, adjusting my blanket. "Family coming?" she asked. "No," I said, a truth seeking in. I needed protection, not from pain but from those who called it love while breaking me. I dialed Eliza Grant, a lawyer I'd worked with years ago. Her calm voice steadied me. "Eliza, it's Lena. I'm in the hospital. I need legal help." I spilled it all. The crash, Dad's dismissal, years of financial support. Thousands quietly given. I want to cut them off. Revoke everything, power of attorney, will, accounts. She didn't flinch. "Do you have records?" I nodded. "Bank transfers, texts, emails. I've been saving them." "Good," she said. "I'll be there tomorrow." "You're not alone." Relief washed over me. I wasn't just surviving, I was choosing myself. Eliza arrived at dawn, navy suit crisp, briefcase ready. "Morning, Lena." "Let's work," she said, pulling up a chair. I handed her a flash drive with months of data. Bank statements, PayPal transfers, texts like, "Claire's struggling, can you help?" She tallied it, nearly $100,000 over 5 years. Rent, therapy, car payments. Could have been a house, debt freedom, a business. Instead, it was my self-erasure. "This isn't generosity," Eliza said. "It's coercion." Her words cracked me open. I'd chased connection, hoping for thanks, but they'd learned I'd never say no, until now. We revoked Dad's power of attorney, removed Claire and him from my will, and secured my accounts. "I'll notify them," Eliza said. "Set up a trust for you, reclaim your autonomy." Signing felt like grief, for the daughter who kept trying, but also resolve. I wasn't begging for love anymore. I was drawing a line. Eliza arrived at dawn, navy suit crisp, briefcase ready. "Morning, Lena. Let's work," she said, pulling up a chair. I handed her a flash drive with months of data. Bank statements, PayPal transfers, texts like "Claire's struggling, can you help?" She tallied it. Nearly $100,000 over 5 years. Rent, therapy, car payments. Could have been a house, debt freedom, a business. Instead, it was my self-erasure. "This isn't generosity," Eliza said. "It's coercion." Her words cracked me open. I'd chased connection hoping for thanks, but they'd learned I'd never say no, until now. We revoked Dad's power of attorney, removed Claire and him from my will, and secured my accounts. "I'll notify them," Eliza said. "Set up a trust for you, reclaim your autonomy." Signing felt like grief, for the daughter who kept trying, but also resolve. I wasn't begging for love anymore. I was drawing a line. By afternoon, the room stilled for drip humming. They were coming. Dad, listed as next of kin, would show. Eliza stayed, predicting, "They'll make a scene." At 4:47 p.m. the door opened. Dad rushed in, tie loose, feigning concern. Claire followed, sunglasses perched, annoyed. Seeing Eliza, Dad demanded, "Who's this?" "Eliza Grant, Lena's attorney," she said. Claire sneered, "An attorney?" I sat up, pain flaring. "Sit or leave." Dad huffed, "This about earlier? You're not dying." "Over a job interview?" I shot back. "You left me bleeding." Claire gasped, "I had a panic attack." "I was in surgery prep," I said. Dad raised his voice, "You're dramatic." Eliza played the call, "Why are you making such a fuss?" Silencing them. "Did you record us?" Dad growled. "Yes, for proof," I said. Eliza presented papers. "Lena's revoked all access. You're cut off." Claire pleaded, "I need help." "Not my problem," I said. "You had years of lifelines." Dad shouted, "Your family." "Your blood," I corrected. "Not family." They left, stunned, the door closing with finality. The silence was heavy but mine. The faint creak of my apartment door in Boise, Idaho, echoed as I closed it behind me, crutches clacking against the hardwood floor after my hospital discharge. The legal papers from Eliza Grant sat on the kitchen table, a stark testament to the family meeting's fallout, Dad's cold dismissal in the ER and the subsequent severing of ties. My leg, still encased in a brace, throbbed with each step, but the ache in my chest from their betrayal stung deeper. The silence after cutting them off was a jagged blade, slicing through years of suppressed anger. Ethan and Claire's frantic texts, "You can't do this," poured in, a desperate chorus I ignored. What would their next move be, and how would I shield myself from their chaos? That uncertainty gnawed at me, a restless current pulling me forward. The days following the hospital showdown were a whirlwind of resolve and recovery. I settled onto a worn couch, the hum of a borrowed space heater my only companion, my body adjusting to the brace's weight. Sarah, a colleague from the finance firm, brought meals, homemade soup, crusty bread, her quiet support a lifeline. Her mom, Ellen, sent a care package with herbal tea, noting, "You're carving your own path." I expected guilt to claw at me, but it didn't. Instead, I dove into action. I opened a new spreadsheet, financial reckoning, detailing the $15,000 I'd funneled to Dad and Claire, mortgage payments, Claire's car fixes, Dad's emergencies. Each line was a scar, a record of their exploitation stealing my determination. I fortified my defenses. I called the bank requesting a freeze on any lingering joint accounts, citing fraud concerns backed by Eliza's advice. The rep confirmed suspicious withdrawals, spa charges, car upgrades, aligning with their lies. I saved the transcript, a shield against their narrative. I updated my will, naming Sarah as executor, and set up a trust with Eliza's guidance, locking my assets from their reach. My phone erupted. "Dad's, this is cruel. Claire's, I need my car payment. Ethan's, you're tearing us apart." I silenced them, letting the messages stack like evidence. 3 days later, Dad called 6 times. I answered on the 7th. "Lena, what's this nonsense?" he barked. Kept my tone even. "Where did the money go?" He faltered, "Bills, Claire's therapy, his dental work." I pressed, Therapy doesn't cost $5,000 monthly. That car had custom rims. He snapped, "Don't judge us." I said, "You drained me while I bled. That's on you." Claire grabbed the phone. "Just help this month." "Not my burden," I replied, hanging up. No remorse. The next 72 hours were a tense hush, a prelude to their retaliation. Ethan texted, "They're crashing at my place." Satisfied? I shot back, "They chose this." He retorted, "Your selfishness broke Mom." I countered, "She broke herself with lies." He went quiet. Dad emailed a long plea, regret, a budget sheet twisting blame. I didn't respond, adding his figures to my spreadsheet ready for their spin. Claire texted, "We're selling the house." The finality stung, a crack in their facade. I rebuilt my world. I worked remotely, tackling CPA prep, saving for a reliable car. The apartment gained a second-hand rug, a plant, each a stitch in my autonomy. Every Saturday I brewed coffee, its aroma a small rebellion. Rumors filtered in. A coworker mentioned Dad's job tension. A neighbor noted Claire's job hunt tantrums. They spun tales. I'd left for a promotion, masking their collapse. I let it unravel. A month later, Ryan, a firm analyst, noticed my focus. "CPA goals?" he asked. I nodded. He shared resources and we reviewed cases late, his camaraderie a stark contrast to home. One night, a knock jolted me, Ethan, disheveled. "Can we talk?" I let him in. I didn't know it'd hit this hard. "Dad's a mess, Claire's unhinged," he said. "I saw your records." "Sorry." His voice wavered. "They're furious, but I get it." "What now?" I asked. "College, maybe finance," he said. We sat, a fragile truce forming. What would this bridge hold and how would I steer it? That question lingered, a horizon to navigate. The golden threads of a Boise sunset wove through my apartment window, spilling warm hues across the room as I cradled a mug of chamomile tea, the delicate aroma of lavender from a handmade sachet on the sill mingling with the evening air. The legal documents from Eliza Grant, neatly stacked on a shelf beside a small ceramic vase, stood as a silent monument to the family meeting's fracture and my liberation from Dad and Claire's hold. Their unraveling lingered like a distant mist, softened by Ethan's hesitant reconciliation and Sarah's steadfast companionship, which had planted roots of renewal. The city's tranquil rhythm, the rustle of pine needles in the breeze, the gentle lap of the Boise River against its banks, enfolded me like a tender shawl. I'd alchemized their indifference into a bedrock for something lasting, a legacy sculpted from my endurance. The desk, now a mosaic of CPA manuals, a thriving pothose plant, and a weathered journal, cradled the outlines of a future I'd shape with my own hands. What I'd forged from this freedom had been my compass, and now it blossomed into a community I could elevate. In the months following Ethan's visit, the apartment transformed into a sanctuary of self. Sarah swung by weekly with flaky pastries and bursts of laughter, Ellen dispatching jars of homemade blackberry jam with notes like, "You're blazing your own trail." Ethan sent updates, steady college progress, a steady gig at a bookstore, his evolution a fragile yet promising sprout. Dad and Claire receded into a mute void, their final plea, "Help this month." A faint whisper of the past. I didn't linger in that shadow, I forged ahead. With earnings from my finance job and a $12,000 inheritance from a great-uncle, his notes scribbled with, "For your grit," I established the Carter Empowerment Network, a lifeline for women breaking free from familial financial shackles, offering budgeting mastery, job placement guidance, and modest microgrants, a tribute to the fortitude I'd wrested back. The network took root with a robust search. I collaborated with a women's shelter, pitching a pilot to empower survivors with tools for independence. Resources flowed. An $18,000 grant from a local nonprofit inspired by my journey, $6,000 from a firm colleague touched by my resolve, $1,200 from Sarah's neighborhood bake sale, and even $500 from a cafe patron who overheard my story. I enlisted Ethan for his newfound bookkeeping skills, a surprising asset, and Tara, a career coach whose empathetic insight molded the vision into a haven. We secured a space in North Boise, a revitalized warehouse with skylights casting dappled light, warm wood walls, and a courtyard where wildflowers peeked through cracks, opening after 7 months of planning. The Carter Hub debuted on a crisp April morning, the air fragrant with blooming sagebrush and the promise of spring. I stood with Ethan and Tara, scissors in hand, as survivors, allies, and curious neighbors gathered under a canopy fluttering in the breeze. "This is for the overlooked," I proclaimed, voice resonant. Tara sliced the ribbon, cheers erupting like a spring thaw, the space alive with anticipation. Inside, the hub pulsed with purpose. A training area thrummed with Tara's financial workshops, participants scribbling notes with eager focus. A lounge hosted coaching circles where stories wove a tapestry of resilience, and a corner office buzzed with grant administration. I wandered the space, the vibrancy of renewal a balm for old scars, and settled at my desk, penning in a notebook. They viewed me as a ledger, not a daughter, but I've transmuted their neglect into this. "This hub declares my worth." A hand-carved sign by the entrance, crafted by a local artisan, read, "Courage in clarity, growth in action," its letters etched in deep walnut, a homage to my path. That evening, I lingered as the crowd thinned, the lounge settling into a soft hush, a fresh ledger on a table symbolizing uncharted beginnings. The months that followed solidified my trajectory. The hub hosted job fairs drawing women from Meridian and beyond, their resumes clutched like lifelines, support sessions filling the lounge with the clatter of teacups and shared determination, its name rippling through community boards and local radio. I hired Sam, a 25-year-old advocate with a fire in his eyes, his passion echoing my own battle. Network funds fueled the Ellen Initiative, named for Sarah's mom, supporting Mia, a teen mastering finance training, her graduation hug a reward that warmed my soul. Ellen visited often, bringing Dad once on a quiet afternoon. "You've conjured something remarkable," he murmured, his voice rough. We sat by the skylight, reminiscing about summer hikes along the foothills, a tentative warmth thawing the air. Ethan flourished, racking up credits, quipping, "I'm the ledger king now." We initiated sibling Sundays, burritos with spicy salsa, treks along Table Rock trails where we skipped stones, stitching a new kinship. Claire remained a silent specter, but Ellen's voice bolstered me. "Keep stretching your wings." 6 months later, I stood on the balcony, the Idaho dusk painting the sky in amber and rose, the distant outline of the Oahe Mountains a steadfast sentinel. The hub's strides, a $45,000 grant from a women's coalition, plans for a mentorship wing with cozy nooks, ignited a pride that glowed like the setting sun. The apartment, once a bolt hole, now felt like a launch pad, its walls adorned with Mia's thank you card and a sketch of the hub I'd doodled. I traced the horizon with my gaze, the city's lights twinkling like stars, and smiled. I'd sculpted a life with intention, turning anguish into a stage for others to rise. The emptiness left by Dad and Claire had birthed this. Ethan's blossoming, Ellen's tenderness, the hub's vibrant pulse. I was intact, tranquil, my legacy moored in a community I'd cultivated, its branches reaching toward a dawn where no one would be overlooked again. Hey everyone! Thanks for tuning into the Revenge Tempest channel. If you love this story, please hit that subscribe button and join our amazing community. Drop a comment below letting us know where you watched us from. Your support keeps us going. Stay tuned for more epic tales. Hey everyone! Thanks for tuning into the Revenge Tempest channel. If you love this story, please hit that subscribe button and join our amazing community. Drop a comment below letting us know where you watched us from. Your support keeps us going. Stay tuned for more epic tales.